Good afternoon, dear members of the commissions and undergraduate students. Today let me start today's master's defense. Okay, the first undergraduate student Uzakbar speaker Bakirgenovna with scientific work Inglis ve Karakalpaklılarda söz yazaş usulları. Scientific advisor Galiyeva, Doctor of Sciences, Associate Professor, Karakalpak State University.
Good morning, head teacher and student of Master Degree. Let me introduce myself. My full name is I am student of Master Degree. Today I am going to defend my dissertation work. About ways of word formation in English and Karakalpak languages. My dissertation work consists of introduction and 3 chapters, 6 paragraphs and conclusion, and a list of used literature.
It's not necessary 3 chapters, references. You should start from the main parts, which is necessary.
The relevance of the master's dissertation topic is that as each language develops on the basis of internal and external sources with the development of society, the formation system changes not only on the basis of lexical composition of the language, but also on the basis of its internal capabilities. Given the development of word formation methods, today it is an urgent problem that only 2 of the word formation methods can be solved in the process of comparative learning of several languages. Object and subject of research, we have identified the Karakalpak and English languages as the object of research. The methods of word formation in these languages constitute the subject of our activity. The scientific novelty of the work is that in this research work, we compared the formation of nouns by the method of affixation in English and Karakalpak languages and made a typological analysis. In this research, the formation of nouns in the English and the Karakalpak languages was thoroughly studied and compared the similarities and differences, including some affixes, which are one of the word formation methods included in the ranks of language unions, have fragmentary significance. In this alliances, the national cultural characteristics of that people are clearly visible, and their analysis indicates the novelty of the topic we have chosen. Word formation is one of the independent branches of linguistics, like lexicology, grammar, which studies new word formation methods and, in general, phenomena related to word formation. The term of word formation is applied comparatively to 2 different phenomena. First, general word formation and the word formation phenomenon. Second, refers to the section of language knowledge that studies phenomena related to word formation. The most active method of word formation in Karakalpak today is affixation. Word forming affixes have several differences. Some affixes make words with the same meaning, while others make words with different meanings. For example, if the sas affixes make a noun with the same meaning, such as asfalt sas, saat sas. Sh affix made nouns with several meanings, tractor sh, sport sh, neft sh. Some affixes make words belonging to one group, while some affixes make words belonging to different groups. Compare arbakish, it's a noun. Paskish, it's an adjective. Bidava, adjective, tanımsız, adverb. Ways of forming words in English. Making words by adding words is common to all languages. This method is especially widespread in languages without suffixes, such as Chinese. The English language has the following forms of the morphological affixal word formation. First, suffixal methods: word, worker. Read, reader. Second, prefixal methods: honesty, dishonesty. Sense, nonsense. Kind, unkind. Suffixal, prefixal methods: misunderstanding, reassurance. Phonetic methods: in this case, a new word appears by changing the sound of the word, changing their position. For example, bad. Semantic methods: the meaning of the word changes in this way of development of the vocabulary of the language. Formation of nouns by the application methods. In English, nouns forming suffixes vary in origin. Suffixes only as a morphemes and suffixes formed from independent words in the process of adding words. Pure English suffixes and assimilated suffixes. The vocabulary of English is evolving with new lexical associations made by means of productive suffixes. Such suffixes are found in one or some words or as a single morphological sign of a noun. The methodological basis and methods of the dissertation, the works and theory of the President of the Republic of Uzbekistan on education and learning foreign language, the scientific works of the specialists of this sphere on the theme make the methodological basis of the research.
We can move to the conclusion.
Conclusion.
Time is up.
Conclusion. Conclusion. Word formation is the creation of a new word, no matter how it is done. In the English and Karakalpak languages, which we analyzed and researched, new words appeared in 6 different ways. Application method is active among them. When forming nouns by the application method, the nouns appeared almost identically in the compared languages. We have seen that English abstract nouns are more widely used when compared to Karakalpak language. Nouns formed with abstract nouns. All Asian terms are translated as root words without affixes in Karakalpak language.
Conclusion, please. Or you've already finished.
Already finished.
Okay, questions? Thank you.
Peki, üçüncü bağımızda, Rusuz Karabağ Birliği'nde, üçüncü bağımız İngiliz Karabağ Birliği'nde jasalma aktıklarımızı bağlayıp analiz edene dostlar. Sonun birinci bölümünde İngiliz Karabağ Birliği'nde jasalma aktıklardan uksas kam ayrıca karakteri dedirgensizler, son kanday uksaslıklar, kanday ayrımaşlıklar kalıyor. Kalalınız bakanda, misal neyin bir birisi son.
In general, nouns are formed with the help of the following 6 methods.
Ya qaysi o'xshash ham ayriqcha tariflarda kelgan uchinchi babning birinchi bo'limida. Sujetdan avval misol bormi? Sujetda misolimiz bo'lsa ayting.
For example, increase, we should review. To increase.
O'xshashga bir-birini inglizdan qarab o'xshashga o'xshashdan ayirmashlig'ida yozib, o'xshashga o'xshashimizga.
Qarabağ tilinde soruya göre mi? Qarabağ çalışmaz. Qarabağ tilinde söz жасалуы, bu morfologiya söz жасалуы bo'yicha qaysini bosishimiz kerak? Qarabağ tili bo'yicha Davliye, Kolaydır genel fazladan katlanıyor. Bunun sorunuz var mı?
Legislação babasında her başka programda birbirinin tarafından yönetiliyor.
Ya, ikеуі бір-біріне ұқсас.
Söz sağlık.
O zaman bu fotoğraf.
The next undergraduate student Muratova Ulusun Urazbayevna. With scientific work, Alisher Novay asarlarini İngilizce tercümelerde tarihi milli koloritni saqlash prinsiplari. Scientific advisor, Doctor of Philological Sciences, Associate Professor of Language and Literature Department, Galiyeva.
Principal.
Good morning, dear members of the Commission and students. Let me introduce, first of all, myself. I am Timrat Ulgusen.
Urazbana, and the theme of today's our master's degree dissertation research paper is the principles of preservation of national and historical national color in the translation, in English translation from National Marines works. So our dissertation the structure of my dissertation research paper consists of an introduction, on King's 3 chapters, and conclusion and bibliography. So let me start from the introduction. Teaching and learning foreign languages is one of the main tasks to be resolved by the nation if it wants to be integrated in the world community. So, and as the aspect of teacher's literacy in the language he or she speaks is put on the first stage, place, and without knowing possible meanings and interpretations of syntactic stylistic constructions of the English language, it is impossible for teachers to give proper knowledge to the future philologists and teachers in teaching process. The actuality of the investigation is that while our young independent republic strives for peace, achievements in the field of sciences are also pleasing, and in this regard, artistic, political, and publicistic works from Uzbek into foreign languages, or in contrast from English into Uzbek, many translating works are being carried out. And the aim of my research paper consists of 3. The first one is to study the stages of translation. The second one is to consider the issue of translation of national words, forms in fiction. And the third one is the issue is to issue theoretical conclusions and determining the principles of translation. The subject of the research paper is the process of comparing. The process of comparing translations, performed monographs, articles, research papers of a number of Uzbek scientists, translators, and the object of the study are the works of Alisher Navai and fiction books and internet sources. The method I used here in my research paper is comparative pathological style method. So the novelty of our work, is that we theoretically analyze how works Ghazal's full of nationalism belonging to Alisher Navai's pen sounded in English, relying on knowledge we learned from translation theory at the university. And the main tasks of our research paper is to show the history and peculiarities of translation of works of art of Alisher Navai in Uzbekistan. And the second task is to prove using examples in the importance of units. And the third one is to show that Uzbek national self-ownership as a new sphere manifested by translations on the world stage. Scientific and practical significance of research results are deals with creating of textbooks, manuals. We can organize special courses, seminars for bachelors and masters and we can use it in conducting practical classes, preparing lecture texts. So in the chapter one is devoted to problems of translations of the works of Alisher Nawai into English. And here in this first chapter, I divide into three groups or three paragraphs. In the first paragraph, I gave some information about brief biography of Alisher Nawai and his contribution to Uzbek literature. The second paragraph is about the information from the history of translations from Uzbek to English. And the third one is the study of Alisher Nawai's works. So, Alisher Nawai is a great thinker, poet, Uzbek poet, statesman, public figure, patron of education and science. And his foreign work, as a foreign work, we know Hamza, which consists of 5 parts. And his poetic legacy is Mukhamatul Mughatayin. And if I give some information from the history of translations from Uzbek into English, there are some books, some poetic books that are translated into English. Lisson Tire, translated by the Fitzgerald in the USA. Mukhamatul Ulughatayn, which was translated by Deborah Brooks in the USA. Timur Tuzklari by David Joseph White, and the Babu Nama, which was translated by Erskine's Beverly conclusion. So, if in summary, I would like to say that it is worth noting that the study of expressions of the author's speech, and translation helps firstly to improve their practical theoretical knowledge for the translators by identifying ways of representing the national self. And the second one is to summarize the rich experience gained in the process of indirect and direct translations, allowed identifying errors, shortcomings that lead to a deeper understanding of ideological elements of work of art.
Okay, so if you have any questions, you're welcome. The commission members.
Which methods have you used?
Comparative typological message.
What is comparative method?
Comparative, we should analyze or compare two languages. For example, I compared Uzbek to English and searched for some words, how they expressed in another language, one word or poems, or in terms of rhymes, meaning, idea of the poem, maybe poetry, literary poetry, maybe.
Can you give examples?
Examples, of course, for example, there is one example, Koshu yasın deyin, kuzu korosun deyin, kümülmahar birinin dardu balosun deyin. It's from Alisher Nawai's extract. And it was translated like, should I tell that she black-eyed and eyebrows highly knitted as a bow that make me grieve about it? Should I tell it to my dear one? Or another translation by Sultanova, of your eyebrows bowed, or of your eyes so black at night I care, or of smart and pain given by each of them to my heart should I dare. There are some differences, but the idea is similar to each other. But there is preserved some national self.
Bir ara sorumuz var mı? Evet.
Please explain to us historical national coloring. What is it?
Historical national coloring, historical, this word says about the analyzing the history, the stages, the time, the period that have maybe have some changes in translations, in versions, maybe throughout the history. And national, it means that there should be some national self in some phrases, expressions, maybe words in poetry, maybe there also maybe some colors do not, for example, that do not influence on the idea. Maybe there are some gestures we should analyze. We should pay attention to each detail while translating. For example, rhymes, rhythms, gestures, facial expressions. We should all learn all these expressions, all the culture, their culture, how they what to say, how they express their opinions, their ideas. Maybe.
Like keeping national coloring.
Yes, national coloring, national self.
It's a good start. It's a good start.
Yes.
I have a question. What kind of national cultural expressions you have found from Alisher Nawawi?
For example, there is
Works.
some word in a sentence that means that is kalam, but it means, for example, kalam means not the like in struggling there. When I need to move, or struggled for peace, and occupied many places, but Alisher Nawawi took them with his pen. There's some such kind of meaning. But kalam here, it's not an instrument. It's not like struggling instrument. For example, it's like with his poetry. He impressed readers from all over the world.
Pen is sharper than sword.
Yes.
But how you have translated such kind of national cultural expression while translating?
While translating, we gave
Maybe you have come across some problems.
some scholars translated it like pen, but the meaning is not the pen. It's in indirect meaning. Directly, they translated directly.
Directly.
Yes, when I analyzed, searched for some information, I came across such kind of situation. Thank you.
Next, undergraduate student Mambetova Dilnoza Almuratqızı. With scientific work, dünyanın milli manzarası da oila ve tıp konseptlerinin kıyasi talkını. Scientific advisor Safar Shahriyor, Samarkand State Foreign Languages Institute Associate Professor.
So good morning, dear members, dear students. Today's student is about conceptual analysis, comparative analysis of concept of language and family in the national word picture. I would like to begin with the actuality of this scene that is closely connected with the descriptions given to the text and considered in most cases on the basis of the relationship of different level units from the point of view phonetic, lexical, phraseological, morphological, uh, syntactic phrases. And the second one is about the linguistic interpretation of artistic text is based on the traditions of new general typological and applied linguistics. For example, typological linguists distinguishes phonetic, grammatical, and lexical features of language sources based on the importance of certain studies. So the scientists that have done some work in this regard is that's began in the 20th century. In the 20th century, the crisis arose, and the result of applications of new methods have completely new directions appeared in the literature, as well as so. In the 20th century, the crises have arisen, and in the 20th and 30th years, prominent scientists like Aristotle and Cicero, Biruni, Farabi, Ibn Sina, Yasavi, Yundaki, and as well as the Uzbek scientists like Navai, Babur, Kharizmi, they have detailed studied the issue on these works, and as well as nowadays there are prominent works in this regard in the level of Uzbekistan. Mr. Shakir Safarov and Ashirovs have done a great for the widespread of cognitive linguistics from modern language research throughout Uzbekistan. Under the leadership of these linguists, a number of candidates were defended their works. The aim of this research is to study the mutual activation of the commonality, singularity, and other relationships between the conceptual structure in English and Uzbek languages from the point of view of national identity of knowing the world. The tasks that hold in this research and historical study of the theory national identity of language of the world. The second one is to study some types of concepts and their rational cultural characteristics. The third one is to study the linguistic features of conceptual expressions in English and Uzbek languages. So, main part.
Move to the main part.
The term language is closely connected with the word the culture, and the culture is formed in the language. Accordingly, language serves for culture, and language can serve as a means of creating verbal realities that is reflected in characteristic of conceptual expressions. And it is a unique way of knowing the world. Therefore, each language has an important means of understanding the world, and the language itself reflects the unique characteristic of the languages understanding the world. So I would like to shortly introduce with the chapters of 1 and 2 seconds. The first and second chapters. The first and second chapters is is done that language. The word language is how is closely connected with the word culture. And the second one, the word connected with the word parents, children. And in each part, you can see the interactions between the words language and culture. And the second one, the words family and family with the word parents and children and other siblings. In the third part of the dissertation is is written about the culture for the English order, attention, ambition, and the typical values of Uzbeks: respect, hospitality, and respect for age. Therefore, in order to recognize a word as a concept, to use it as a key word of culture, it must have a wide scope and general characteristics, as well as the ability to be expressed in the phraseological units and morphological types. Culture owners in different socialities have wider choices under the influence of social environment. So the culture is informed as lives in the language. So to conclude, I would like to add that the English family is a simple way of living that is not idealized based on the national character of English people, and they do not express their inner emotions, external emotions in the process of family event concern. As a result of a family, in the language and culture relies on a nuclear family consisting of a close microcosm in national cultural and national linguistic characteristics of very difficult to enter.
Questions, please, dear professor.
How do you represent English family and Muslim family?
In my research work, they represents the nationality between English family and Uzbek family, the nationality, the traditions, their culture, how the comparison between the English family and the Uzbek family. As an example, I can say that the traditions like Uzbek family pay more attention to the hospitality for guests, unlike the English family.
So what methods did you use while analyzing your data? What methods?
Linguo-cultural method that I use.
Or analysis?
The analysis that I have used, I have searched the Uzbek family, and I came to the conclusion, the comparison of Uzbek family.
Methods.
Yes.
Do you understand methods? Comparative analysis method, right?
Comparative analysis between two families. Two family, English family and Uzbek family.
Lingua cultural analysis, right? Okay. And conceptual analysis.
Conceptual analysis.
Why didn't you take Kartalpak family as an object of your paper?
Didn't they?
Why didn't you take the Kartalpak family concept of
The reason why-
Kartalpak language as an object of your investigation?
Thank you for your question. The reason why, because Uzbek families' culture and Karakalpak families' culture is closely connected with each other, but we can say just a bit changes between two cultures.
This is the reason.
Yes, because it is closely connected, the cultures and the history.
But these days, people do not say this. Thank you. I'm joking.
Okay, thank you.
Це ж это будет следующий объект нашего исследования.
Next, undergraduate student Жопарбекенова Азиза Dawletbayqızı with scientific work Inglis tilidagi ana shakllarning lingvistik xususiyatlari va ularning o'zbek tilida ifodalanishi. Scientific advisor Sapayeva Firuza, Associate Professor, Nukus State Pedagogical Institute.
Good morning, teachers and the master students. I introduce myself. My full name is Joparbekenova Aziza Dawletbayqızı. Today I am going to defend my dissertation work. My dissertation work about ways of work, linguistic features of indefinite forms of verbs in English and their expression in Uzbek. Relevance of the topic to the category argumentative, while English belongs to the category inflectional languages. Studying this language in a comparative aspect is one of the important issues of today, since this language belongs to unrelated language families. There are also many difficulties translating from one language to another. In the field of translation, the main part of the work carried on until the end of the last century was devoted to the translation problems of translation from Western language to Russian and other languages, and the translation issues from English to Uzbek were studied to a very low level. The issue raised in this master's thesis is related to the translation of non-finite forms of verb, which is one of the most difficult of grammar encountered in translation from English to Uzbek. I am tasks of the dissertation work. The purpose of this master dissertation to analyze some grammatical issues in the field of translation studies based of the research done in this regard to study the indefinite word forms of English grammar from a linguistic comparative typological point of view, and to study the features of the translation. In order to achieve the goal, the following tasks have been solved. To study the linguistic features of grammatical phenomena such as given participle infinitive, which are non-finite forms of the word in English. Studying the listed indefinite forms in the language. Analytical study of the features of translation of non-unique forms of the English verb into Uzbek. Object and the subject of the research work. As the object of the dissertation, the process of studying the indefinite forms of the word Comparative.